the D98. I am Libby Abraham, and I will be your host for this very exciting meeting. Before we dive into today's celebrations, let us quickly just go over the online meeting guidelines to ensure a smooth and enjoyable experience for everybody. First, we would love to see all of you. So please keep your cameras on so that we can connect better. Second, do keep your audio muted when you're not speaking. And if your video is on, try to avoid too many movements so as not to disturb the speaker. And please use the reaction buttons that Zoom has provided to your heart's content so all the speakers are encouraged with your reactions. And of course, please put your mobile phones on silent or vibrate mode. Let me share district mission with you. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. A very good evening and happy Independence Day to one and all present here today. Now, today we gather here not just for celebrating, for a meeting, but for a celebration of India's freedom, of its rich heritage, and its values that unite each and every one that is present here today. We have an inspiring evening ahead of us. Patriotic songs to stir up our hearts, reflections and addresses that remind us of our roots, and the special highlight, the launch of our brand new initiative from the PQD's office, the D98 Edge. Now, our very first D98 Edge session themed Discipline, Duty, Dialogue will take us inside the Indian Armed Forces to uncover lessons in mindsets, communication, and most importantly, leaderships that we can carry into every aspect of our lives. So let us join together in the spirit of freedom, pride, and learning and make this Independence Day one to remember. Now, I would like to call upon somebody onto our virtual stage who has been a Toastmaster for more than 9 years, has served the district with dedication, has held several club and district leadership roles beyond Toastmasters. She is also a public relations professional, crafting stories and connect and inspire everybody. Now, she has given me the right to, when I asked her for her introduction, she told me that I could say whatever I wanted to say. So she also told me that I am her most favorite person in the whole wide world. I am privileged to welcome the district director for District 98, Distinguished Toastmaster Neha Bhatt. Shubayan, if she could unmute her, please.
Thank you so much. Audible?
Yes.
You may look at me that I'm a little vibrating because I'm traveling, but I could not miss this session. As soon as the PQD informed me about this wonderful initiative, 98 Edge, and so looking forward to all the educational sessions, but this one holds a very special place. Back in the school days when we used to attend Independence Day, children, we always used to go, like I'm talking about myself, for flag hoisting or meeting friends or sports event or just to get chocolates. But in those sessions, when we grew older, we got to know the importance of how our defense has held the foundation of India so high. And today, I have often talked about conversations with I and Sanjan that had Army, Navy, and Air Force. I'm sure, Sanjan, you remember those conversations. And I'm so happy that over the years, what I and Sanjan have talked about is now finally coming to District 98 platform, bringing all three veterans in this room. And I'm so looking forward for this session. Thank you so much, First of all, Program Quality Director, Libby Ibrahim, Sanjan Shetty. I said Libby Ibrahim because you're the moderator. And Toastmaster Sumit Arya. A round of applause for all three of you and the entire team of Program Quality Director who's doing this wonderful initiative, and wishing you all a very happy Independence Day. I'm so looking forward to the panel discussion. So I'll not take much of your time and not take away from your time as well, Sumit. Over to Libby.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Neha. Now, next up, we have two very, very talented individuals who are going to lead us in the national song. Now, one of them is an all India rank holder in both chartered accountancy and company secretaryship. She has worked extensively in due diligence and transactions and recently embarked on a new chapter in Berlin. Let me welcome Toastmaster Divya Iyer. The second individual I want to speak about is a passionate teacher by profession, a lifelong student by choice, and is currently pursuing a doctorate on the work-life balance of teachers. A feminist, a strong supporter of women's leadership, she is the charter member of Bhopal Toastmasters Club. And she has twice served it as a president and is now its treasurer. She also mentioned to me that her father was in the defense. So she is a very, very proud Indian and celebrates Independence Day more than she celebrates Diwali. Please welcome Toastmaster Subhashini Raman. Shubhayan, if you could highlight both of them, spotlight both of them.
Libby, are we audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Am I too?
Yes. Shubhayan, please remove the spotlight from me. No? The stage is yours, Divya and Subhashini.
Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Sujalam Sufalam Malayaj Sheetalam Sasya Shyamalam Mataram Vande Mataram.
शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना फुलकितयामिनी फुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्.
Thank you so much, Divya and Subhashini. That was really angelic. Next up is a leader who has been a Toastmaster for over a decade and currently serves District 98 as its Program Quality Director. Professionally, he is a senior consultant at Protivity Global in business consulting, risk managing, SOX audit, regulatory governance, and the list goes on and on. Please join me in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster Sanjan Shetty.
Am I audible and
Yes.
visible?
Yes.
आज मैं एक भाषण देना चाहूंगा हिंदी में। ये छोटी सी प्रयास है और आशा करता हूँ कि मैं शुद्ध हिंदी में ही उच्चारण करूं। आप सभी सदस्यों को इस सभा में तहे दिल से मैं नमन करता हूँ और सबको अ, स्वतंत्रता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देना चाहूंगा। स्वतंत्रता की वाणी और नेतृत्व का उड़ान। हर वर्ष 15 अगस्त को जब हम तिरंगा लहराते हैं तो केवल एक ध्वज नहीं बल्कि हमारी आजादी की आत्मा को ऊंचा उठाते हैं। पर क्या आपने कभी सोचा कि ये आजादी, ये आवाज टोस्ट मास्टर मंच में से भी गूंजती है? टोस्ट मास्टर्स और स्वतंत्रता दिवस, ये दोनों एक ही दिशा की ओर जाती है। आवाज पाने की, बोलने की, नेतृत्व करने की आजादी। हमारे राष्ट्र ध्वज के 3 रंग केवल रंग ही नहीं, वह हमारे जीवन मूल्यों का भी प्रतीक है। केसरिया रंग त्याग, बलिदान और साहस का प्रतीक है। टोस्टमास्टर मंच में जब कोई पहली बार कांपती आवाज से बोलता है तो वो भी एक साहसी बलिदान है, डर का। श्वेत रंग शांति और सत्य का प्रतीक है। हम यहाँ एक दूसरे को आलोचना नहीं, संवेदनशील प्रतिक्रिया देते हैं। ये भी एक शांतिपूर्वक संवाद ही तो है। हरा रंग ये जीवन, उन्नति और विकास का प्रतीक है। टोस्टमास्टर्स का हर सदस्य निरंतर विकास की इस हरियाली में बढ़ता है, वक्तृत्व से नेतृत्व तक। और बीच में श्वेत के जो केंद्रीय स्थल पे स्थापित है वो है अशोक चक्र, जो धर्म न्याय का स्मरण करता है। उनकी 24 तीलियां हमें ये इस बात का याद दिलाती है कि विकास एक सतत प्रतिक्रिया है। टोस्टमास्टर्स की हर सभा, हर अभिनय और हर भाषण हमें उस चक्र को घुमाने का एक अवसर देती है। सदस्यों, स्वतंत्रता दिवस ब्रिटिश राज से मुक्त होने का नाम नहीं, बल्कि उस डर से मुक्त होने का नाम है जो हमें अपनी बात कहने से रोकता है। तो आज जब हम इस तिरंगे को सलाम करते हैं, तहे दिल से नमन करते हैं और उन वीर वीरांगनाओं की बलिदान जो जिन्होंने अपनी प्राण की आहुति दी है, उन्हें इस भीतर, वो एक हमारे हृदय के भीतर एक तिरंगा लहराए जहाँ केसरिया साहस हो, श्वेत ईमानदारी और हरा आत्म विकास हो। और मैं तहे सदस्य को मैं आशा रखता हूं कि आप जिस दिशा की ओर बढ़ते हैं उसमें नवनिर्माण और कल्याण का वो ऊर्जा और सूत्र बने, उस प्रेरणा बने। तहे दिल से मैं देख मैं उत्सुक हूं देखने के लिए कि आगे क्या क्या होने वाला है। और मैं कहना चाहता हूं, जय हिंद, जय टोस्ट मास्टर। लिबी जी, आपको मैं स्टेज और स्पॉटलाइट देना चाहूंगा।
धन्यवाद डिस्टिंग्विश्ड टोस्ट मास्टर संजन शेट्टी। आपको हिंदी में बात करते हुए सुन के मैं मेरा दिल बाग बाग हो गया है। That's as much Hindi as I can manage impromptu. Now, I would like to invite back our two singing angels, Toastmaster Subhashini and Toastmaster Divya, to render some patriotic songs for us, please. Shubhain, if you could unmute them. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजे प्रेम, मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजे प्रेम, आत्मवधेव परानपि पश्यत, आत्मवधेव परानपि पश्यत, युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत, युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत, त्यजत परेष्व क्रममाक्रमणम्, त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजेत्रीम् जननी पृथ्वी कामदुहास्ते जननी पृथ्वी मधुहास्ते जनको देव सकल दयालु जनको देव सकल दयालु दाम्यत धाता दयत्वां जनत दाम्यत धाता दयत्वां जनत श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां
सरफरोशी की तमन्ना, सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है। देखना है जोर कितना, देखना है जोर कितना, बांसुरी का दिल में है। सरफरोशी की तमन्ना, आओ 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 आओ, वक्त आने पे बता देंगे। तुझे है आसमां, हम अभी से क्या बताएं, हम अभी से क्या बताएं, अब हमारे दिल में है। सरफरोशी की तमन्ना, सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है। आओ आओ
हे वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू हे वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू हे वतन मेरे वतन हे वतन मेरे वतन तू ही मेरे मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से तू ही मेरे मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से पहुंचू मैं जहां भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू पहुंचू मैं जहां भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू हे वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू मैं जहां रहूं जहां में याद रहे तू हे वतन मेरे वतन है वतन मेरे वतन तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूं तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूं कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे साध रहे तू है वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू है वतन मेरे वतन है वतन मेरे
भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है, सबसे न्यारा गुलिस्ता हमारा है। भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है, सबसे न्यारा गुलिस्ता हमारा है। सदियों से भारत भूमि दुनिया की शान है, भारत माँ की रक्षा में जीवन कुर्बान है, भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है। उजड़े नहीं अपना चमन, टूटे नहीं अपना वतन, गुमराह ना कर दे कोई, बर्बाद ना कर दे कोई, मंदिर यहाँ मस्जिद यहाँ, हिंदू यहाँ मुस्लिम यहाँ, मिलके रहे हम प्यार से, जागो हिंदुस्तानी नाम हमारा है, सबसे प्यारा देश हमारा है, सब ही तो भाई भाई प्यार से रहेंगे हम, सब ही तो भाई भाई प्यार से रहेंगे हम, भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you so much, Subhashini and Divya. Now we come to the section where all of you have joined to listen to our very distinguished guests who have come from the various arms of our Indian Defense Forces. And to lead us in this panel discussion, we have somebody who is a seasoned veteran of the Indian Army with 26 years of active service before moving into the corporate world. Today, he heads the training team for Reliance Retail Security and Loss Prevention Division. He is also the immediate past president of RIL Toastmasters Club. And he has also been an area director last year, an adventure enthusiast, self-proclaimed chef, and a voracious reader. Please welcome Toastmaster Colonel Sumit Arya.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Libby. I hope I am audible and visible.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I think we'll get started with the panel discussion. Slain, you will find a place in heaven. Victorious, you will enjoy the earth. So, O son of Kunti, Yudhyay Krit Nishchaya, resolve unto battle. Good evening, one and all. It's an absolute honor for me to be moderating this panel discussion on 15th of August, and this being the first panel discussion of this initiative. Since it deals with the armed forces, I'll give you a very short sneak peek into the Indian Defense Forces. I'll just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
A country with over 1 billion people, thousands of years of history, and the world's spiciest food. But behind the saris, samosas, and sacred rivers is a military that's so vast, so capable, and so battle-ready, you'd think it was coded by a Marvel villain. This is not the India you think you know. Because while some countries flex with parades, India just silently upgrades, drills in 3 climate zones, and prepares for war across land, sea, air, space, and cyberspace, all at once. India's army isn't just big, it's seasoned. With over 1.2 million active personnel and hundreds of thousands in reserve, it's one of the largest standing armies on the planet. But this isn't just about numbers, it's about experience. While some armies do war games in the desert once a year, Indian soldiers are literally fighting real skirmishes in the Himalayas, guarding borders at -30°C, and tracking insurgents through monsoon-soaked jungles. Imagine doing combat patrols with frozen eyelids or humidity so thick your socks turn into soup. That's Tuesday in the Indian Army. Now let's talk sky supremacy. The Indian Air Force, or IAF, doesn't mess around. With over 1,500 aircraft, it's one of the biggest and most versatile air forces in the world, and it flies everything. You've got Sukhoi Su-30 MK-IS Rafale jets, Tejas, India's indigenous fighter jet, and the pilots, they train at altitudes where oxygen is suggestion, and landing strips are made of ice. Now, let's go aquatic. India's Navy is the silent assassin of South Asia. It guards over 7,500 kilometers of coastline, controls key shipping lanes in the Indian Ocean, and has eyes on every passing vessel. We're talking aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, stealth destroyers, frigates, corvettes, and landing ships, and nuclear submarines that can launch ballistic missiles from under the damn ocean. Their missile arsenal is no joke. Agni series, BrahMos, one of the fastest cruise missiles in the world. And while other nations are figuring out drone warfare, India is already using domestically built UAVs for surveillance, target acquisition, and strike operations. This isn't just defense, it's domination through innovation. But the real strength? Resilience. India has fought multiple wars, faced insurgencies, and bounced back from terror attacks without crumbling. Its soldiers are battle-tested, its people are proud, and its doctrine is clear. We don't want war, but if you bring it, we finish it. So, yeah, next time someone says India is just software engineers, spicy food, and spiritual gurus, remind them it's also one of the largest, most experienced militaries in the world.
Yeah, did you get goosebumps? Well, if you did, I'm happy. If you didn't, you will once I introduce our panelists for today. Ladies and gentlemen, the first panelist, he comes with huge experience of 31 years in the Indian Air Force. He is an ex-National Defense Academy officer who was commissioned in June 1991. And during his days in the Air Force, he flew the Canberra and the Avro aircraft. Apart from that, he tenanted a large number of operational and administrative positions. Today, he is the director of Defense Pro Trainings and has counseled over 1,000 aspiring candidates on career planning, personality development, and leadership qualities. Some of these are serving in the Indian Armed Forces. Toastmasters, please put your hands together and virtual claps for Group Captain Mahesh Kulkarni. I'll request the admin to kindly highlight him. Thank you for joining us, Group Captain Mahesh Kulkarni.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Our next panelist is an alumnus of the National Defense Academy, IIT Kharagpur, IIM Ahmedabad, and has a doctorate to his name. Commander VK Rai, Vivek Kumar Rai, has put in 22 years of service in the technical branch of the Indian Navy. He thereafter tenanted some of the classified positions as Scientist F under the Ministry of Science and Technology, and he has been the founding director of Innovation for Defense Excellence, IDEX, through which he has supported numerous defense startups. Today, he is working as a consultant for deep tech and dual use of technologies. He also takes time out to ignite young minds of young IITians and NIITians to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Commander Dr. Vivek Kumar Rai.
Thanks, Sumit, for the introduction.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Our third panelist today, she joined the Indian Army as a short service officer and commissioned in 2011 in the Corps of Signals. She worked extensively on large-scale technology rollouts, including secure telecom and cyber resilience initiatives. She has been an instructor and also associated with the National Cadet Corps. She has recently hung her boots and would be joining the Bharat Forge team as a senior manager. Toastmasters, please welcome panelist number 3, Lieutenant Colonel Arshdeep Kaur.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Arshdeep, for joining us. Thank you, all the panelists. And since we are short of time and we as Toastmasters take time very, very seriously, let us dive right in. My first question is directed towards you, Group Captain Mahesh Kulkarni. 31 years of experience in the Indian Air Force. I'm sure you would have seen a large number of leaders. Very quickly and very cryptically, if you can tell us what kind of leaders you came across and what did you imbibe from their kind of leadership qualities?
Sumit, thank you for inviting. When we talk of leadership and the human dynamics, that is the human behavior, what strikes me is a quote from my mentor, Brigadier Dr. Bode. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. He says, I quote him, in a bus there are three persons. One is a driver, the next is a conductor, and the third is a passenger. I unquote. Then he goes down to describe the qualities of all three. The driver has the steering in his hand. He is the leader. He is the person who is trusted, or he is the decision maker who decides the direction for rest of the his followers. On interacting on the three planes, that is his attitude shows up in terms of behavior with the human beings. He is humble, he is visionary, he is able to get along and makes a lot of friends so that he is able to steer clear of all the problems he faces in the life. Then on the plane of facing the problems, he takes each and every problem as a challenge and he goes down to the nitty gritties and he comes out stronger. And that's how the leader is made of. He takes all the decisions, which is his hallmark. And as far as his ideas, that is the third plane of attitude interaction with the world, is the ideas. He's open to suggestions, quick to take up all the ideas of his followers, and he makes the best out of it because he doesn't believe that मैंने जब ठान लिया तो मैं किसी की भी नहीं सुनता. He's willing to listen to all, and that's how the decisions. He creates more options in his life. The more options there are in his life, the more it is easier to navigate through the challenging situations. That is what the leader is made of. That is his hallmark is basically the decision taking. That's what hallmark is, the decision taking, the trust, the humility. These are the hallmarks of a leader which the driver possesses. So this is one type of person in the bus. The second is the conductor. He is a team man. He believes that his interests are lower than the team. He participates actively. He's the one who's contributing effectively. He gives valuable suggestions so that the team progresses. He's the team. He brings in synergy.
Group Captain Mahesh, can you hear us?
Am I audible? Am I continue like this?
Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So sorry for this hiccup. I'm at Ayodhya and I had all the problems had to start one after the other. So I'll just continue without the video. So this person is the pulse of the team, and he brings values which add to the group's progress. And the third person is the passenger, which no one should be. He gets pushed around in life. And my advice to all the leaders listening: driver who is making seats for the followers to take up his positions, and he moves from a bus to a limousine or maybe to the aircraft, and these followers are the ones who add value and continue progressing in the group. So, but never be the passenger. That is what I've seen throughout the 32 years of life, and I teach the same thing to my students. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm a trainer now, and now that you've given me just few minutes, I take session on leadership, and now Sumit has given me just 3 to 5 minutes, so it's very difficult to cramp up so many things. So nonetheless, this was the gist I saw in Air Force, and I tell the same thing: never be a passenger, either be a leader or be a team man, that is the conductor who is actively participating and working for the group aim. Yeah, that is what I felt about over the 32 years. And I saw these glimpses all over. And now also I see in the students.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Group Captain Mahesh. Very, very aptly brought out. And what I could just add on here is that even in the Toastmasters, we believe in similar things. We also believe in service leadership. We also believe in collaborative decision making. And once a decision is being taken, all push or pull in the same direction. So thank you so much for the insights. My next question is directed towards Commander Dr. V.K. Rai. Now, Commander Rai, you have worked extensively both in the Indian Navy as well as in the Ministry of Science and Technology, and thereafter you have driven a lot of defense-related startups. My question is, how did the Navy prepare you for all these kind of leadership positions? And how do you find it different between the Navy and the startups? And what kind of insights can you give us about the startup environment today as it exists in this Sashakt Bharat, if I can say?
Thank you for this question. Far too many things to ask. So one is that you mentioned how has Navy prepared me to deal with startups and setting up of the startup ecosystem. In fact, I would go back a few years before I joined Navy, when I joined science school, and from there I joined National Defense Academy. I was listening to one of the speakers earlier, Neha, who and Independence Day functions. They used to go for which they used to go, but which are those Dudi laddus and probably wrapped up in
Dr. Rai, I think we are having a bit of a problem in hearing. Is someone else also? Yeah, I think yes. Someone just put in there. The voice appears to be breaking up.
Yeah, is it audible now?
Yes, this is slightly better. Yes.
Yeah. So, I getting into promoting
No. I think Commander Rai, we are having some trouble in listening to you. These messages are coming in the chat.
I'll just mute my video for saving maybe data.
Yes, probably yes. Some bandwidth will be saved there.
Sumit, am I audible?
No, again the breaking voice persists.
Hello.
It is not very legible.
Yeah, how is it now?
Okay, it appears to be slightly better now. Maybe you can just log off and log on, join in again.
Yeah, if that works well or if it is fine, then I can continue.
Okay, what I will do in the meantime is that I will go on to. Okay, let's give it one more try before we move ahead. Okay, right, Commander Rai, please go ahead. Let's see in case.
Yeah, so I was talking about my work in the domain of investigation and innovation started quite early. So from science school to National Defense Academy. And the good part about training National Defense Academy is that they give you all-round exposure and then you choose whatever is best and whatever you are best at. So that is where I decided that I should join the Marine Commandos team, and started preparing for being good in cross countries and all these outdoor activities. But once I joined Navy, I realized that sports and physical activities are very important. Being good at technical aspects is equally essential. Because as we know that a lot of things on board ships are not in business. They are imported, the engines, the missile systems, the weaponries, everything is imported. Even most of our initial ships were also imported. So the dependency on foreign navies and foreign countries for weapons and and engines, everything, too much. And that is where I decided that let's give it a try to join the technical branch. And I continued in technical branch, went on to uh, becoming a gas turbine specialist. Gas turbines are the engines which propel most of our frontline destroyers. While in service, I did my MTech and PhD from IIT Kharagpur and continued with this academic line to quite some extent, trials of their engines. Also preparing a group of naval experts who could mobilize things to undertake repairs in-house, also look into making the engines in-house within the country. A lot of components we were able to start indigenizing. And after close to 22 years of service, after I left, I joined as a founding program director of IDEX scheme, Innovation Defense Excellence. It's one of the schemes that was started primarily to infuse innovation into armed forces. As we know that services have legacy systems where if a company or a startup wants to become a vendor for forces, it takes years to actually start rolling yourself as a vendor and start providing things to. So that is where we aimed at providing a very short runway to take off and provide technical support, product support to armed forces. And thereafter, I moved on to Ministry of Science and Technology as scientist project head. That is where I was involved in funding commercialization of indigenous technology. So I would say that the entire career in school to National Defense Academy, naval service over 2 decades, exposure to Ministry of Defense Initiative, IDEX, and thereafter stint as scientist from DST. All this has helped me to sort of be a translator for startups to talk about the language that services understand and teach them about the language which startups can understand this side. And that has been very effective. So I think myself as a translator between services and startups. So I think that's all I can know.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Commander Rai. The job of the translator is actually the most important thing because two people cannot understand each other until there's a translator who can communicate one thing to the other and the other one, back to that person. Before I move ahead, just a quick question again to you. And this is amongst the things which have been declassified, and you can tell us about that. Can you just quickly tell us of 1 or 2 projects involved with which are today in active service? Totally on to you if things have been declassified.
I've shifted back to my case. Am I audible properly?
Yes, but I think the problem is with the video. With the video on, there's a problem with the audio. Yes.
Yeah. So there are far too many projects that have now got inducted into armed forces. Let me share a few examples. Like one of the earliest ventures of drones, they started from armed forces through this scheme. Getting into unmanned underwater vehicles, this was one where exclusively Navy was quite keen. We've been able to deliver a few very good projects and products in this domain. There are companies which are working in softwares which can undertake robust analysis of underwater noise and underwater domain analysis. These are the areas of unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned surface, and unmanned underwater vehicles. Some of these products have the headway into the armed forces, courtesy these schemes like IDEX and DST schemes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commander Rai, for giving us these insights. And we have all seen during the recently concluded Op Sindhur how Atmanirbhar Bharat and indigenously made weapons and weapon systems, sensors and shooters have given us the edge over our adversary. And it is people like Commander Rai who have been working silently in the background, getting these things up and about. Like he mentioned, there was a gap between what the services were asking, what was, or what was available in the civil market. Innovations and like his, where he has been working, have bridged this gap. Wonderful. Okay, I will now move on to Arshdeep. Lieutenant Colonel Arshdeep, you have recently hung your boots, and I'm sure, being a lady officer, you would have had similar and varied experiences while serving in the Indian Armed Forces, in the Indian Army. So I would want you to tell us about an incident, or maybe what you faced, or maybe a challenge that came your way, and how did you go, which should be dealing with leadership and communication.
Sure. I'll take you through one of the times. I come from Corps of Signals, which is all about communication, and communication is actually backbone of any operation, be it disaster recovery, be it in war and in corporate also. So without communication, actually, if the coordination is not there, the progress or the growth is not there. That is what we have believed, and that we believe as signalers. So there was the time I was posted in Northeast, and it was in year 2020 when the Guwahati floods had hit, and it is a recurring event which keep taking place. So I was made in charge for the radio communication at that particular point for various detachments which were to go for providing help. And during such time, first I looked at the problem, and I looked at the resources which are will map the gap between them, and I had come up with 2-3 things like there was radio telephony procedures which were not followed properly, and the equipment which was provided to us was way too bulky, and there were many problems related to the templates provided and the operating procedures which were there for the radios. So after finding out these problems, we acted on it. We started the program for the operators who were there to go in various detachments, and then innovation or from internet and various vendors, we had found out that there is one small dongle size radio, which is software defined radio, is also available these days to provide seamless communication. So we did trials for the same. We made a the same. We tried to implement that training which we have given to the operators and users in different areas. We recce the areas, and after recce, we have put the, according to the location radios were supposed to go, and seen the tactical sighting and technical drawbacks or maybe advantages if we have any of it. So like this, we have I have faced a problem in Army with the help of my team, and it was successful, and me and my team were to provide seamless communication in that time. So that was one such incident which I recall.
Wonderful, Arsh. Wonderful. You epitomize this old saying, a leader knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. And innovation in field, in operations, has always been the hallmark of the Indian Armed Forces. And you have just shown us another way, how you went about that problem. One would have never thought that a small pen drive size dongle can actually assist in getting the communications through. And without communications, well, you are literally blind. An example which comes to my mind is that during the Gulf War, when the American forces landed at Iraq, there was a mismatch between the communication sets and they could not communicate. So someone used innovativeness, walked up to the nearest STD PCO kind of a thing which was there, and placed an international call on the telephone that, boss, we have landed and we are not in communication. This is how the communications started between, the ground forces and the. Excellent. Okay.
Sir, I would like to
Now-
mention one more thing here. Like we used to be the first one to go in the war, and we used to be the last one to come back from the war.
Excellent. First in battle.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the importance of communication, especially in the armed forces. I'd like to draw the attention of Group Captain Mahesh Kulkarni to some communications fail. I remember during our IIM days, you mentioned something about the failure of communications during a critical mission and how you overcame, how leadership, kicked in at that time. So maybe very quickly, if you can recall that incident for the benefit of all of us.
Yeah. Am I audible now again?
Yes. Audible and visible, sir.
Okay. If you all have heard of Canberra, it's a very old aircraft. It has participated in the Congo operations in 1971 also. Maybe it was a workhorse sometime. When I joined, there were around 39, and it was on the fag end of the carrier. So by the time I retired, so all of them had phased out. Maybe after the last crash, 2007. So one incident which I narrated during the Mumbai days was that we had to ferry an aircraft from Agra to Bangalore. Okay, I'll get the context correct. The aviation was not that superior. Even the Delhi radar could just have a primary pickup of maybe 50 or 100 kilometers and kilometer radius and pickup that is on the physical on the radar, I would call it. Not many aircrafts were there in the air, and the sky was the limit for us to play around. And Canberra, being an military aircraft, it was going for a major overhaul, and you could imagine in the Army and Navy always a shortage of these spares, and we are trying to make the recycle, reuse, and such things. And as such, Canberra was on the last leg, so we were hell bent on seeing that the work things go to air and the new ones come back to the unit. So there were lots of spare issues and all. So when I started with the from Agra, so there we had three problems. Canberra has one navigation aid, that is a navigator who is sitting in front, and otherwise there is an ADF which locks onto the nearest cloud air. So that is the navigation aid which you have. Apart from that, the Ashdeep will agree, the communication, we didn't have the UC set. So they were manually tuned on the ground. We had the Crystal STR-9X, if she can recall. So the tuning needs to be done on the ground itself. So we used to pre-tune the channels which are required in the air. The route we used to be planning from one base to air base. So like we didn't have those routes like in the nowadays. It used to fly from airfield to airfield. So from Agra to maybe Bhopal, Nagpur, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. So that in case of emergency, you land at the nearest one. The third problem with the aircraft was that its booster pumps were three of the booster pumps. Booster pumps are the pumps which are used to fuel under pressure to the engines. So the three of them were duff, and we knew that this is the problem, and we had to get aircraft to Bangalore somehow because we didn't have the spares in the unit. So we had a problem about the navigation, that is the ADF was duff. Next, we had the booster pumps, which them out of the 6, there were 3 integral tanks. So they each had 2 pumps. So 3 of them booster pumps were down. So we basically under 10,000 feet, it fuels supply is good to the engines. It has to be pressurized so that the fuel reaches the engines in a correct amount. So with that condition, we started from Agra. And I distinctly remember it was the fag end of maybe March. The westerlies sets in. The winds from the west, that is Pakistan, toward the Guwahati sides kick in, and we knew we'll be getting pushed to the port. And the meteorological department was not that developed in those days, so we used to draw those lines, and whatever they said was the gospel truth. We didn't have anything to verify like nowadays. So and the only savior was the navigation flight plan which the navigator makes and the pilot. Unfortunately, the pilot was from Bangalore, and he was maybe he was going to Bangalore to meet his brother, so he didn't make a map. So in Canberra, map is the savior. So we mark those checkpoints as we and every 20 minutes or 15 minutes we looked in the ground, because there is no other navigation aid to tell you that this is your position. And we are flying from being the fag end of the WDs, that is in the month of March. The winds were pushing us to the left, and we flew from anything from 20,000 to 35,000 feet, skirting the clouds, trying to fix our positions. And the first position was we were supposed to get in touch with the Gwalior ATC. There was no joy. Thereafter, next Bhopal, again no joy. The panic had slowly started kicking in because the navigator didn't have an ejection seat also. So you can imagine a speck dropping from the aircraft at say 35,000 feet, and he has to drop like a stone till 19,000 feet, because the VTRU kicks in only at 19,000, so that the parachute gets deployed. You will maybe lack of oxygen and you die. So you have to fall like a stone till 19,000 feet, and then this mechanism kicks in, and then there is a parachute which blows, and then you come down, and नीचे पता नहीं क्या होगा, lake होगा, खाई होगी, कुछ भी हो सकता है. So that is the state. And the jettisoning part, that is coming out of the aircraft itself, was a tricky part, because if you have been Canberra, you have to jettison, and then if you are slightly miscalculating, you will get sucked in the engine, because the navigator is in position where it's not in a side-by-side or tandem seat with the pilots. So he's lying down in the aircraft. That is the only aircraft where you get paid for sleeping and getting paid for doing the navigation. So there is a cushion sort of a thing. You lie down on this gadda, and you fix a position looking at the map, correlating features on the ground. You put a pin on the, that is a circle around a pinpoint, and then you calculate the winds, and then you calculate what is the change in the ETA, and then you decide what is the how the winds have pushed you, so that you make corrections later, and then you try to regain the track and come to the Bangalore. The journey was quite a long. Okay, so to make the matters worse, what happened was my pilot was Vinkovada Bhalla. He was gem of a person. He had all the qualities of an aviator, of a human being, and the best of the science. He was more genned up than his engineering counterparts also, but he didn't make a map. So you can imagine, in the cramped cockpit, I pulled out my emergency set of maps, because I could not fix my position because of the clouding. So, and we were going all around from 20,000 to 30,000 to 35,000, and again deviating cloud, because that was the westerlies, and there was no weather radar per se could deviate and find a position. There was no VOR in the aircraft to decide, okay, this is your position. There was no communication per se which will tell you that at least you feel very comfortable when you listen to human voice from the ATC or the ground controller or the radar controller. It's such a solace. But none of that was coming. And when we reached around Nagpur, the panic had literally set in. I thought, if I continue like this, so I'm going to be eaten by shark. Maybe we continue beyond Vietnam, and there is nothing else, because what happens, you don't see the ground. We don't know, you can't land in a kacha or a field, because the wheel clearance also is around 2 feet or so. You can't land in a field also. You get toppled, and there is a sure shot recipe for a crash. So it continued for Nagpur. So close to the whole flying time was close to 2 hours plus. And in Nagpur, we didn't have a position. And the panic was setting. And at that time, generally in Canberra, we give maybe 10 degree, 5 degree, because you are clipping at 450 knots. And the corrections required are just 5 to 10 degrees. But in this case, we are going all over the countryside, left, right, center. But एक gut feeling थी, हम left में हैं. That's it. Nothing more than that, because it was a month of March. And I gave an alternating of close to 40 to 50 degrees. And I identified Nagpur. Thankfully, there were no clouds. We circled twice over Nagpur, identified that cross runway, the lakes between near the airfield, and fixed the position. And then I continued for Bangalore. And first contact was Agra, Bangalore. You can imagine, one tiny soul. And Sumit will draw the lessons from this, what led me to take this call. And finally, we landed at Bangalore. That was my school. I studied there. So the crew was decided. My pilot had a brother there, and I had a school there. So the crew, there was no competition for the crew to reach there. So that's how I reached. And Sumit will draw the lessons out of this, which I narrated in the IM.
Well, the lesson that I can draw is only one. भगवान पे भरोसा था, पहुंच गए.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we do in the services, we do face such situations where you literally believe in God and believe that whatever step you are taking, the hand of God is over you. And more often than not, it works. Sometimes it does not, but more often than not, it works. Yes. Okay. Okay, we are running out of time. So my next question is going to be directed towards Commander Rai. Vivek, you have been working with the startups. I would like you to give some pointers, some suggestions to people who are thinking of getting into defense startups or the startup environment as such. If you can give some tips.
So, that, I feel is being technically competent is very, very essential. If you intend to start a startup, you have to know your job, you have to know what you want to do. The second thing, which is equally important, is your intent, your attitude. With the right competence, have you tried to join a particular scheme just to get government funding or just to make use of that particular scheme, generate some profits, and then leave the whole thing? Or is it with the intention of helping out the end users, which is the defense? It could be Army, Navy, or Air Force, and feel proud of having given them a product which is niche, a deep tech, innovative, and something that services never had earlier, something on which the services were dependent on foreign companies. So I feel that if you are a startup and you intend to be a vendor or innovator or entrepreneur, most important two qualities that I would suggest is you have to have the right competence, technical competence, and right attitude. Right attitude to take up the scheme, make most of it, make use of it. And of course, I must say, having been a jury member for lot many startups in their selection schemes, I can say that you are totally transparent. People can see you through. You try to hoodwink people that, no, sir, we want to make this, but after having done this, only we'll make it. All that can be seen. People notice that. They realize that things are indigenous or they're not indigenous. If you claim your product is 100% indigenous and still there are a few products where dependency on foreign soil is there, that can be seen and noticed. So I think as a startup, you need to build up on technical competence, be truthful, have correct intent while you are working on the project. Truthfully declare what you have sourced from abroad, what you have own indigenous capability, and allow others, allow the jury, allow other startups to help you in developing indigenous content on things which you are sourcing from abroad. That's all I would suggest.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commander Rai. Short, sweet, straight. That is, how the armed forces people are. And I think what Commander Rai has given out is just the crux. That's it. So anybody who's thinking about a startup, about, joining up with the defense forces, this is your guru mantra, which you have got today. Okay. My next question is directed towards Arsh. And again, I'll be short and cryptic in this. 14 years in the army, now joining the corporate. What are your takeaways, from the life that you have spent in the army? How is the Arsh, the 22-year-old Arsh who joined Officers Training Academy, from the Arsh, or how that Arsh was different from the Arsh that we see today?
So that is a real thing which I am going through right now, and I am in a situation to rightly answer this question. I would say my journey has been full of learnings and full of experiences, and definitely I am not a person who has. I am definitely a person who has changed a lot, And I would say now I am someone who can give instructions clearly, who can take instructions clearly, and who can unite a team and get the project or work done in time, and be a team player also. Wherever the leadership is required, I can be a leader also. So my 3 takeaways from my 14 years of service would be like, first would be I am a person who is fearless, who can take any decisions and can deal with any type of can produce any type of outcomes required. Then I would say I am, secondly, I would say that I am a person presently who is having a broader outlook of the world, or who can face challenges like I am going through presently, preparing for my second innings. And third would be I have become a good time manager. I am someone who is after her duties and looking forward to pursuing her hobby, upscaling herself, and learning as much as possible. So that's all I am taking from the army for my second innings, sir.
Thank you so much, Arsh. The metamorphosis of Arshdeep from the college student to now a veteran has 3 major things to take away from: being fearless as compared to earlier, better prepared wherever she is now, and she has become a great time manager. And I can tell you this with a lot of experience, that once you are transitioning to the corporate, all these 3 qualities will come very, very handy to you. And there'll be a lot of other qualities that you will realize, which the armed forces have provided you with. They're also going to come very, very handy. Right? So, we are running out of time. And while I still have many questions, and I'm sure that all of those, and you would also be having a large number of questions, we will have to unfortunately draw this panel discussion to a close. May I request everybody to kindly join us in giving virtual claps to our 3 panelists: Group Captain Mahesh Kulkarni, Commander Dr. V.K. Rai, and Lieutenant Colonel Arshdeep.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. I'm handing over back to our Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Libby Abraham.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sumit. And I want to take this opportunity to thank once again Group Captain Mahesh Kulkarni, Commander Vivek Kumar Rai, and Lieutenant Colonel Deep Kaur for gracing us with your presence. And what we have heard from you, I'm sure, does not even scratch the surface of what you guys have been doing. And some of the stories that you narrated have been cliffhangers. I felt I was watching some movie where I was wondering what is going to happen next. So thank you so much for sharing all your experiences, and we are that much more richer after listening to all of you. As we come to the end of this meeting, our district officers have gathered together and have created something very special that I would want to share with you now. I'm just sharing my screen. Is my screen visible?
The screen is loading, Libby. It's not yet visible.
Okay. Just let me know when it's visible.
Yeah, now it is visible.
Wishing everyone a very happy 79th Independence Day, as India celebrates with the theme of Naya Bharat, which means a step towards prosperous, safe, and independent India. Today, let's free ourselves from the fear of
being judged, mostly imagined and rarely real.
Failure, as it is a stepping stone to success.
Feedback. It's a mirror, not a verdict.
If you fear taking initiative, start small. Take one step at a time.
Behind every conflict, try to understand the story and approach it with empathy and not with ego.
Anxiety. Let it pass without resistance.
Audience. Not a threat, just people listening.
Stress. A signal to pause and prioritize.
Confidence. It's built through our actions. We are not born with it.
Forgetfulness. It's temporary, fixable. Because to err is human.
Happy Independence Day, District 98 members.
Happy Independence Day, District 98 members.
Happy Independence Day, District 98 members.
Happy Independence Day to all of you.
Happy Independence Day, all the District 98 members.
Happy Independence Day. Vande Mataram.
Jai Hind. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day to all District 98 members.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
Chabasin
गुजरात
Maratha
उत्कला विंध्य चलो
यमुना गंगा
गंगा उच्छल जलधितरंगा
तव शुभ नामे जागे
तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाय तव जय गाता जन गण मंगल
फलदायक जय
भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय हे
जय 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 हे
That was officers had to offer to all of you. With that, I call for a closure of this meeting. Once again, happy Independence Day to all of you and Jai Hind. Ryan, you can stop recording now and we can stay back. Those who want to stay back and talk and chat, we can do.